While you were busy with your week, tectonic plates were shifting underneath the global energy market. We're talking about billion-dollar deals being sealed, entire corporate strategies being upended, and the geopolitical map being redrawn, one energy contract at a time. It's easy to miss these stories in the daily news cycle, but they have profound consequences for the price you pay at the pump, the security of our power grid, and the future of the energy transition. So today, we're cutting through the noise. I'm going to break down the top 5 crucial energy stories you might have missed, and more importantly, explain exactly why they matter to you. We'll be covering Chevron's staggering $53 billion victory in the fight for the world's hottest oil discovery, the unstoppable rise of US liquefied natural gas with billions in new investments, BP's surprising retreat from a major European market, ExxonMobil's massive and potentially risky $10 billion bet on China, and a landmark deal that solidifies America's role as Europe's energy guardian. Stick around, because you need to know about this. First up, the story that's sending shockwaves from Wall Street to the coast of South America. After a tense, high-stakes arbitration battle, Chevron has emerged victorious over its rival ExxonMobil, clearing the way for its massive $53 billion acquisition of Hess Corporation. Now, on the surface, this is a huge corporate takeover, but the real story is what Chevron just bought. They didn't just buy a company, they bought the keys to a kingdom. Specifically, Hess's 30% stake in the Stabroek Block off the coast of Guyana. This isn't just another oil field. The Stabroek Block is the largest oil discovery in a generation, holding an estimated 11+ billion barrels of recoverable oil. It's a treasure chest. ExxonMobil, the operator of the block, tried to stop the deal. They argued that their joint operating agreement gave them a right of first refusal. Essentially, the right to buy Hess's stake themselves before Chevron could. The arbitration court disagreed, and Chevron was reportedly ready to close the deal within 48 hours of the ruling. This is a career-defining win for Chevron CEO Mike Wirth. For years, Chevron was seen as lagging its peers. This single deal transforms the company's future, giving it a premier, low-cost, high-growth asset for decades to come. The oil in Guyana is not only abundant, but also has a lower carbon intensity per barrel than many other sources, making it more resilient in a carbon-constrained future. Second, this sets a massive precedent. Joint venture agreements are the bedrock of the global oil industry. The outcome of this fight will have lawyers everywhere rereading the fine print on their contracts. It changes the calculus for future mergers and acquisitions. This was a game of corporate chess, and Chevron just declared checkmate. But what do you think? Was this a brilliant strategic move by Chevron or a major fumble by Exxon? Let me know in the comments. From the black oil of Guyana, let's turn to the super-cooled natural gas of the US Gulf Coast, where America's role as a global energy superpower is being cemented in steel and concrete. The Commonwealth LNG export facility in Louisiana has just received its final green light from FERC, the US energy regulator. This is an $11 billion project. Let that sink in. This facility is a monster, and it's a huge win for the region. It's projected to bring in $3.5 billion in export revenue every year and create thousands of jobs. Production is set to start by 2029, and they aren't waiting to find customers. They've already locked in binding, long-term contracts with global giants like Glencore, Japan's JERA, and a crucial 20-year deal with Malaysia's Petronas for sustainable LNG. So, what's the real story here? This project is a direct consequence of the geopolitical shifts since 2022. As Europe scrambled to get off Russian gas, the world looked to the US, and the US is delivering. This facility is more than just infrastructure. It's a strategic node connecting American resources to global demand, enhancing energy security for allies in both Europe and Asia. And that term sustainable LNG from the Petronas deal, that's key. It means this project is being built with an eye toward the energy transition, likely involving investments in carbon capture technology or high-quality carbon offsets to mitigate its environmental footprint. This is the new face of LNG. America's energy resurgence is real, and it's being built right now in Louisiana. While some companies are going all in on massive new fossil fuel projects, others are making radical changes to their strategy. And that brings us to BP, which just sold its entire Dutch retail and EV charging business. This isn't a small sale. We're talking about 300 BP-branded gas stations and 15 of its BP Pulse EV charging hubs. The buyer is a fast-growing local Dutch company called Satom, which will absorb everything into its OK network. So why is BP, a company that talks a lot about mobility and EVs, selling off its EV hubs? This move is a chapter in a much larger story, BP's identity crisis. Under its current leadership, BP has been trying to pivot faster than any other supermajor, from an oil and gas company to an integrated energy company. This sale is part of a massive $20 billion divestment plan to shed assets they no longer see as core to that mission. They're betting that owning thousands of retail stations isn't the future. Instead, they want to focus on large, high-margin energy hubs and other scalable projects. This move is a strategic retreat, and it stands in stark contrast to rivals like EXXON, which are doubling down on their core strengths. The rise of a local player like Chatham also tells us something important. In the new energy landscape, sometimes agile, local companies with deep market knowledge can outperform global giants. It's a fascinating case study in corporate strategy, focus versus scale. Speaking of EXXON, their latest move is turning heads for a completely different reason. At a time of heightened geopolitical tension between Washington and Beijing, ExxonMobil has just launched operations at its new $10 billion plus chemical complex in Huizhou, China. This isn't just another factory. This is the first major petrochemical project in China to be wholly owned by a foreign US company. The scale and speed of this project are breathtaking. It includes a steam cracker that can produce 1.6 million tons of ethylene a year, a key ingredient for plastics. And they built it in record time. From negotiation to groundbreaking took just 18 months. A project like this would typically take over 5 years in most parts of the world. That speed is a deliberate signal from Beijing that it is open for business. So what does this tell us amidst all the talk of decoupling? This is EXXON playing the long game. They are making a powerful statement that for them, the commercial logic of being in the world's second largest economy outweighs the political risks. They are betting on the continued growth of China's middle class and its insatiable demand for high-value materials used in everything from medical equipment to cars. While governments talk geopolitics, global corporations like Exxon, Shell, and Germany's BASF are voting with their wallets. They see China's deep supply chains and commitment to high-value manufacturing as an irresistible opportunity. This is a powerful symbol of how energy, industry, and geopolitics are converging in complex and often contradictory ways. It raises a big question for Western boardrooms. How do you balance political risk with immense market opportunity in China? There's no easy answer. Finally, let's circle back to LNG because another landmark deal shows just how central it's become to global security. Venture Global LNG has signed a 20-year deal to supply Italy's energy champion Eni with 2 million tons per annum of US LNG. For context, 2 MTPA is enough natural gas to power over 3 million Italian homes for a year. And this isn't a short-term fix. It's a 20-year commitment. This is the first ever long-term deal between Eni and a US producer, locking in an energy relationship for a generation. Why is this deal so significant? This is a geopolitical chess move disguised as a commercial contract. Italy was one of the European countries most dependent on Russian pipeline gas. This deal is a cornerstone of its strategy to diversify away from Russia permanently. It's a lifeline that provides stable, reliable energy from a democratic partner. For Venture Global, it's another major win that brings their total contracted sales to over 43 million tons per annum. For the US, it solidifies its role as the indispensable energy partner for Europe. This isn't just a commodity deal, it's the foundation of a new transatlantic energy bridge built on mutual need and strategic alignment. It fundamentally reduces Russia's leverage over Europe for good. So what do these 5 stories tell us when we put them all together? First, despite the push for renewables, high-quality, low-cost oil and gas assets are still seen as incredibly valuable, as the Chevron Hess deal shows. Second, US LNG has become an undeniable tool of American foreign policy and a cornerstone of global energy security. And third, The world's energy giants are on diverging paths. Some are doubling down on their core business, while others are trying to radically reinvent themselves. The energy world is complex, and these are the kinds of stories that truly shape our future. That's all for today. If you found this breakdown valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives like this one. And I really want to know what you think, especially about that Chevron deal. Drop your analysis in the comments below.